Attention, attention. Vice President Education Officers, claim your training credit today.
Today, I'm going to dive into the new Basecamp and Basecamp Manager and show you what I think is really useful for members and officers, and to just promote the members' growth and also the club's growth. I'm getting there's a no. Well, hopefully I can change your mind. But first, I want to make a couple of points about pathways. So I ask you, why do people come to Toastmasters? What is it that what do you hear most when you're in your clubs? They want to get comfortable with speaking in public, right? They want to communicate more effectively. You've probably heard lots of things. The best thing I ever heard was, I want to find my voice. That nearly brought me to tears, that we're helping people find their voice. This is what we're doing as officers. And so why do they stay? So a lot of people are getting pretty good at this. Why do they stay? Fun, challenging, maybe new goals emerge as they see what is possible. All those things. Community, absolutely. You all know, right? You all know that Toastmasters provides two very powerful opportunities: a rich education system, curriculum, and a safe place to practice and improve your skills. Those two things, pathways and the meeting experience, work together hand in hand to help you progress and reach your goals. Both those things are important. Now, I want to share with you very quickly a graphic of District 2 data. Now, this is a great example of what not to do in a presentation like this, because you can't really, this is too small for you to read a lot of things, but I just want to show you a couple of things. So this is all the District 2 and the max level that's completed by each member. Now I have 4 bins here. I've got the first column is the first 6 months. Well, first 6 months, you don't expect people to finish level 1. So you would expect that to be empty. There is one person, I believe, who did finish a level 1. In the next bin, it's people who have been members for 6 months to 3 years. Now, all this light color is people who have not even gotten level 1. So that's a little concerning. We do have some level 1s and level 2s, and we have some overachievers here. We've got some level 5s. You know who you are. But we really should be more level 1s on this graph. And then for the 3 years to 10 years, nearly everyone should have done at least a level 1 by that point. And then 10 years on, same thing. We would hope that people are working in pathways and completing projects. Level 1 is the fundamentals, right? It's why people come to Toastmasters. I should think we all want to see more level 1 completions at the very least. We will touch on some solutions for that later, so I want you to think about that. Next thing about pathways, well, I have a story for you. Recently, I was talking to an old friend of mine, Elizabeth. She and I have known each other since we were 13. Some of you probably have friends like that. Someone you've shared history with, is like a family member, right? And you think you know each other pretty well. Well, I can't remember exactly what we were talking about, but at some point, she says to me, You know how you see your life like a timeline with memories like dots on the timeline? I said, what? She tried to explain that a little further, and I hadn't really ever thought about it before, but I said, no, no, all my memories are like celestial objects just floating in space, just sort of hanging around, waiting to be explored. They don't even have timestamps on them, which would explain a lot about my relationship with time. But perhaps it also explains why I like pathways so much. Each project is like a celestial object, and they are all orbiting, all 52 of them are orbiting the meeting experience. Some of them are in lower Earth orbit, some are in geosynchronous orbit. All right, enough of that analogy. I'm going to put the meeting experience over here so that it doesn't roll off my desk. But the projects are not numbered. You don't have to do them in any particular order. Yes, the levels build on each other, but if you have gotten through level 1 and you have a level 3 project that you need to practice for a work presentation, maybe like the Q&A, which I think is actually level 4, or um, managing an online, and you haven't finished level 2 yet, it's okay. You can do that project. If you're a brand new Toastmaster, I would do level 1, all of level 1 before you do anything else. And I would probably do the projects in the order. But other than that, you don't have to do them in order. So let your members know that they have some freedom, that they can be creative, that they can do what they need to do right now. So having these things around is great for me. But what about my friend? My friend with the timeline and her thinking. And by the way, who knows my friend's name? Put it in the chat. Do you remember? Were you listening? Elizabeth, you got her. A lot of people got it right. Congratulations. Well, for people who think like she does, they can string together a path any way they want of their choosing. And there are plenty of opportunities to get creative and have fun. And you, as officers, can guide your members in whichever way they learn and think. You need to meet them where they are. All right. Somebody was lost in the orbit. Yes. You're going to just swing right out. Now let's dive into the new base camp. I'm going to show you the new base camp, and I'm going to show you a few things that you should take note of. It's going to be a lot of information. You'll see a lot. You really need to get in there and try things out after this meeting. But if you have questions while I'm speaking, of course, I won't be able to see you. I probably won't be able to see the questions. Betty and Bob are monitoring chat for questions, and I told them to interrupt me if it would make sense to interrupt me right at that moment to answer a particular question. So yes, put your questions in chat. I'd love to hear them. All right, I have logged in to toastmasters.org. This is as you can see, the welcome Karen. If to get to this part, you go to my home. Most of you should know this. And we're going to go into base camp. All right, welcome to base camp, Karen. So right on this first page, first thing you see are your paths and also all the things that have been completed. But this is your paths. Now I have 3 paths showing. I've already completed 1 path, so it's not showing here. The innovative planning path is a legacy path. So it's a path that did not get transferred to the new pathways it's on the platform, but it's not the new education platform. So there's some special things to take note of if you and some of your members are working on legacy path. Now it's not going to go away, but it is a little different than the other paths, the way they look. So let's go into motivational strategies. So going to overview for motivational strategies, you can see all the levels and all the way down to path completion. Now you can look at these, and something I want you to take note of, and I want you to mention to your members, there are cases where project and level completions did not transfer over for whatever reason. So you want to make sure that everybody's up to date to where they think they should be and where you think they should be. So so I finished level 1. And level 2 is completed. And you go to level 3. So you can see that I haven't done the required project for level 3 yet. Then it lists electives. Now I've already completed 2. You only have to complete 2. Why is it showing these others? All that means is that I looked at them. I went to electives and I said, I want to look at this. And so it put it on here so I can go through it and look at it. It doesn't mean that I need to do them. And in fact, you can go into electives and get rid of that if that's something that is annoying you. So here are all the electives for level 3. So it shows which ones I completed and which ones I've selected. So I can unselect this and it will disappear from my list, but it's not really important. So we're going to go back to overview. I always go back to overview. It's just easier to look at things. Now, the things that you need to tell your members, which was always a hot button with the old base camp as well, is how do you show that you finished a project? How do you get it to work? With the non-legacy paths, you can go into your project and it will show on the side. All right, it's wanting me to wait. So this is opening connect with your audience. Let's try this again.
Hey, Karen, it's Victoria. I have a quick question while you're.
Sure.
I think yeah, and maybe if you're going to cover this later, great. But I think one of the things I'm particularly seeing in my club is like just an unwillingness to jump in to pathways, right? There's so much value once you start doing it, and like, so that's one thing I need to work on with my club. If
yeah,
later on.
Absolutely. So what I do in my club as VPE is I train people on pathways when they're new, before I even give them a mentor. I go in and I train them and give them some pointers so that they know right off the bat that there's an expectation to join pathways and that they need to, and I help them with giving them clues about which path they should pick. And that has helped in my club tremendously. People they go right in and they start working the projects right away. And also you can ask me to come to your club and I will give a specific training for that and we'll walk people through.
Okay.
A lot of the stuff I'm going over today is you as officers can help your members to get into pathways. All right, so it did connect.
So Karen,
yes,
there's a couple of questions.
Okay.
So you might cover this later, but one question is, are you going to show the difference for legacy paths?
Yes.
Okay.
I absolutely will. Yeah, that's one point that is definitely a sticking point. So yes, I will be doing that.
Okay, and one more question while we're here. So is there a place to show how many electives are required for a particular level?
Yes, if you, at the very top, and I hate to leave this project. I'm afraid I'm not going to get back, but I will show you where that is. Also, if you just go to ti.org and go to Education Pathways and Paths, Paths and Projects, it gives you all of that information too. But it is also here. It tells you. All right, so this particular so the Connect with Storytelling, this is not a legacy path. This is a new path, and so it looks different than what we are used to, but it still has the next and previous. It has information, it has resources, gives us an introduction. And then you go through all of these. It gives you a little check mark if you have opened the page. Now, if you go down to complete your project, earlier it asked you to give information about what you already know and what you wonder. And if you answered those, the answers will be here at the end. This is the very beginning of the project. This is instead of that assessment quiz that we used to take. It's not required, but it's a neat thing to do. You ought to think about doing it. So then at the end, you're going to say what you've learned and add any items. Then you can, I love this, then you can put your speech in a log and save that log. And not only that, you can send it to a specific evaluator. You can put the you can choose the evaluation form that you are sending to them. It's not smart enough to know what project it's actually in, so you have to go through and pick it. You can select your evaluator from whatever club you pick. So all of the evaluators come up and you can pick them. And you can give any other information about what you want your evaluator to look for besides what's in the evaluation resource. And then you can save, if you're just logging your speech, then just save log, or you can save and it'll email that information to your evaluator.
Okay, Karen, we have a few more questions.
Sure.
Okay, Basecamp Manager used to be able to, Basecamp managers used to be able to see more detail in the paths of club members. Any word on whether Basecamp managers will be able to do this in the future?
Oh, so I am going to be going over Basecamp Manager.
Okay.
I think that you can see more information and more easily than you did last time. You can tell me what's missing, but I think that it's a lot better. So when we get there, maybe you have specifically something you're looking for that we can ask TI for.
Okay.
Or maybe it's hidden and you didn't realize you could see it. All right, so when you get to an end of a project, there's a button, complete my project. That will complete the project for that member. They don't have to answer any questions inside the project. They just have to hit that button. And when they hit that button, they can decide, oh no, this is just complete my project. So all they have to do is do this and they'll get a check mark for that project and it'll be complete. Let's go back to overview. All right, I thought it said right here, there's two required. Maybe it was when I hit electives. Choose at least 2 electives for this projects for this level. So it does tell you that you only need 2 in this particular project, in this particular level. All right. So that's what the new one looks like. Now we're going to go look at a legacy program. So I'm going to go back to home. I go back to paths and learning. I'm going to open up a legacy path, and this is what people will see. So let's go to overview. So you see, it looks a little different. I have done no projects in this particular path. But I did look at the path introduction for level 1. If I had finished any of these, there would be a check mark there, and people need to make sure that they have their projects marked, because I have seen instances where it did not transfer, or they thought they hit the completion correctly and it didn't happen. So please check that. When you go into one of these projects, it looks like it did when on the old Basecamp. And you can see that it doesn't break down the project in different pages. So I have this, I've got you want to go to full screen when you do this, and then you go through, and just like you did before, you have the arrows on each side. You still have to complete the assess your skills before and complete the assess your skills after for this to be considered complete. Otherwise, it looks just like it did before. Hopefully that answered the question from earlier. So that's the main difference between the legacy paths and the non-legacy paths. And at the end, they go to complete your project, and there's only one step this time. So when somebody goes to complete their project, complete their level, at that point, they choose which club they want for which club they want to get credit for that level. I haven't spoken much today. I only spoke to my cat. You don't have to think about it. If they pick your club, then the VPE will get a message. In fact, all the officers will get a message that there's a level completion that's been requested. And then you go in and you say yes or no, whatever you say, but there's only one step and it goes to TI. Okay. Before we get to Basecamp Manager though, let's just look at these real quickly. Go to achievements, and this is all your achievements. So this is what you want to show the member. And it shows all your achievements, blah, blah, blah. But down at the bottom, it has your saved speech log. So I actually put in speeches that I have given through the past few years, and which is perfectly fine. All I did is say, I didn't send it to anybody. I just saved it for my log. So this is where it shows. So it has all the ones for motivational strategies, and it has all the ones for presentation mastery that I have done. Now, if you notice, some of these I haven't put a club in. It's because it's projects that I completed in a different club. So I couldn't choose that club. You can only choose the clubs that you're actually in, but that's okay. I put it in the notes, which you can't see here, but that is stored. So this is kind of a nice thing. It'd be nicer if you could actually put it in some sort of order and it told you what project it was, but you can, in your log, if I had thought of it, I would have said for zombie communication, I would have said level 2 project, know your communication style, zombie communication. And that way you can have all that information in. It also put these in the order that I actually entered them. So it would make more sense if people are entering them as they go rather than this. The dates don't make any sense here. But I've got all my speeches that I know that I have done, or nearly all of them.
So Karen?
Yeah.
We have a question about how do you log in an older speech?
You can just open the project. This is what I did for these because they're already completed. I opened the project and I went down to complete your project. And that's where you fill in the log and save it, and then just get out of it, and it saves your log. Pretty simple.
And does that work for the legacy paths as well?
Legacy paths do not have this at all.
Yep.
No. You cannot do this for legacy paths, which is too bad. But this is only for the new curriculum that's come in. All right, there's also a feedback. So you can give feedback or request feedback from any of your members in your clubs. Just pick your club, and then you pick the member or members, and then give them feedback, and it would be sent to them. They'll not only get an email, but there'll be an alert right here in this little bell, the notice. You can also request feedback. Same thing. You just pick your club and the members that you want to get feedback from, and it will go to them. There's also evaluation. I'm sorry, Betty, were you interrupting me?
Yes, interrupting again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, so we had a question about, can you enter multiple speeches for the same project?
Well, you can put anything on that speech log, on that line where it says speech title. I don't know why you would have more than one speech, but unless you've done it multiple times. For evaluation and feedback, where you do two speeches, it actually gives you two places to put your information. So completely different, because it's completely different meeting and all that sort of thing. Does that answer the question? I'm not sure where, did you do the same project again? Yeah, you want to put the thing in there, the speech title and the date. The date would change. You can only put one date in there. You could put stuff in the notes, but or you can just overwrite what you did before. That would be a choice as well. And again, it's not required. Doing the log is not required. I would encourage your members to use it because it makes it easier for the VPE, and I'll show you that. But also, it's just a piece of, you're able to say, this is what I did, and this is who evaluated it. And it also is a great way to notify the evaluator at the same time and send off the evaluation resource. Okay, under feedback, and this is still on your learning dashboard, under feedback, there's now a new way that you can fill out evaluation forms. You can still fill them out the old way, doing a PDF and printing it out and writing on it and then scanning it and emailing it to the speaker. You can still do all that, but this gives you yet another way that you can do it. And here you have all the various evaluation forms, and you can click on this and you can send a digital version of the evaluation form to someone, or you can, excuse me, you can use this to fill out. You'll get the evaluation form, you can fill it out digitally, so it's not a PDF this time. Or if you are a speaker, you can send it a digital form to your evaluator. So it's just giving you additional ways to do things. Maybe you find this easier, maybe you don't. Either way, you can still do it the old way. As we've already seen, you can get the resources within the project. You can get it when you're doing saving to your log and you want to send it then. Or you can come here to resources and you can find it here. It'll have everything here. Now this has all kinds of information, and it has the project descriptions, the evaluation resources, translated projects if you need it, or if you just want to print out the project, you can get it here, as well as inside the project itself. So a lot of good information here. Are we good with questions at this point before I go on to Basecamp Manager?
Yeah, I'll ask this question here. How do I assign completed paths to specific clubs that I'm a member of? I see no option to select which club I'm working on in Basecamp. I'm sure
So,
if it's Basecamp or Pathways.
yeah, so Pat, your path belongs to you. You can come, and go from various clubs. You can leave Toastmasters and come back, and you're still going to have that path and what you've completed. It belongs to you, not to a particular club. If you are doing a project, you can do it in whatever club you like. As I mentioned before, I didn't have a club name in some of my logs because it was speeches that I gave to other clubs as a guest, and I still got evaluated. I have the evaluation form and all that. So I completed the project. I just didn't complete it in my club, in one of my clubs, which is perfectly good thing to do. If you're finishing a level, when you go to complete your level, it will ask you, if you belong to more than one club, it will ask you which club do you want to get the credit for this level? And you choose it then. And then it will go to the VPE for that club to say yay or nay for completing that level. And if they say yes, this person did complete this level, it will go on to Toastmasters International and it will be marked as complete that you have done that level. Does that answer that question?
Yes, I believe so. And it answered an additional question I was going to ask. So thank you.
Oh, okay, great. All right. All you officers and especially VPEs out there. So now all officers can use Basecamp Manager. It used to be just the secretary, the VPE, and the president. But now all officers can get into Basecamp Manager for your club. So this is where the approvals would show up. I don't have any here right now. But if there was, this is where you'd say yay or nay for the level completion. This is member overview, which has some good information. My poor club, they get shown around the district all the time. So this gives you the current credentials, their highest achievement. So their current credentials doesn't necessarily match what their highest achievement is. So for instance, since I already completed a path, it says my highest achievement is that, but my current credential is MS2. It also has all the other things that have been completed and the date of your last speech. Now, it did figure that out correctly. So this is a handy thing to look at, just to get the feeling for where your club is. But the paths and project, I think, is really useful. You pick the club. So I'm an officer in 2 clubs. That's why it comes up with 2 different clubs. And this does take a long time because it's going and getting a lot of information from each one of the members in your club. So it does take a few minutes to come up. All right, so this is great because here, I'm going to try and show as few people as possible. It shows, so for instance, it has me here 3 times because I've got 3 paths that I'm working on. There we go. It does take a few minutes to get everybody rendered here. And it shows for each person what levels they have completed and how many projects they've completed in a level. This is just great. I think this is so useful. You can take a look at this. You can see where people are close. So for instance, this happens to me again. I've done 2 of 3 projects in level 3. Well, if your club maybe could use a level 3 for a DCP point, and hopefully you all know what that means. It's for the Distinguished Club Program. You can take a look at your Distinguished Club Program report and see what you need, and then see who's close, and then prod them a little bit. Why don't you do the last bit of your level 3? And so we can get that DCP point. Now, also, I want you to take a look at this because this is where you could find some anomalies. So for instance, this says, let's see, where's Kristen? There she is. I know that she's done. I know she's completed her icebreaker, but it doesn't show up here. So I know to tell her, could you go and do what you have to do to complete that in Basecamp? And so you can look through and see if you see things that are not true, and you can see it here. But generally, this is a huge improvement from last time. It's simple. It shows you exactly where everybody is. Now, if you want to, you can click on the names here. And so I clicked on my name for the motivational strategies, and it shows my speech log. And it shows which level it was in and what project it was. So this is really nice too. But it means that your members need to actually use the log, which is not required. But if you would really like to have that, you should encourage them to do that. Now, if you notice, there's a couple I haven't filled out, but I have completed. And so it still tells you if they've completed the project. But you know that from this anyway. Any questions about this?
None so far?
Okay. So I do find this really, really useful. The way I used to do this, or the way I still do it as a VPE, is I have a spreadsheet that I use. Now, this almost replaces it. Very nearly replaces it. Because on my spreadsheet, I put dates when they gave the speech, which if they filled out the speech log here, you'd also be able to see that here. So I'm not sure I'm going to give up my Excel spreadsheet of all my members and where they are on their levels, but this is just is a huge improvement. I think that you should really take a look at this and use it. And also it has recent activity for the last 60 days. And that's Basecamp Manager. Now, somebody asked earlier if they were looking for something that doesn't have any longer. Did I answer your question? Are you
I
out
had
there?
a question, Karen.
Sure.
Can you export that paths in progress list?
So this list here,
Yeah.
not that I know of.
Oh,
And that would be an excellent thing. Of course, it's only a snapshot in time, so it could be wrong tomorrow, right? So somebody completed a project, so for each meeting, it would change, right? Because you would have had 2, 3 meetings, so a couple of projects would have been completed. So that, I'm not sure how useful it is to do it that way.
oh.
Because it's always better just to go in here and see dynamically where your club is. And I see Roxanne Neal has her hand up.
Yes, yes. You mentioned that whereas in the past, where activity about our members' progress in their pathways went to the 2 officers, I think maybe it went to education and president, and that now officers have all of the officers have access to Basecamp Manager. Do notifications about members' progress or notifications about needing to approve go to all officers? What?
That's a really good question. that I was assuming it went to all of them, because they used to go to the 3 before. Does anybody have an answer to that? I have not asked. Anyone notice that they've gotten level completions, or is I mean, haven't been in the system very long, so there may not be that many level completions yet. But I'm not sure if it goes to everyone in the club, in
Yeah.
the officer team. I would guess that the answer is yes, but I'm not sure about that.
And someone is saying, I remember the notification goes to more than just VPE. And so you mentioned 3 officers. So in the past, which 3 officers were notified? So I knew VPE and president. What was the third one?
Secretary.
It
The
also
secretary.
goes to the secretary. Those are the 3 that it still goes to.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still,
Okay.
well,
Well,
I think it will go to all 5, but I'm not sure. So Marty, do you think it's just the 2?
Well, I've received once I've approved the path request and I can see who's on the email, and it's been the president, the secretary, and me.
Okay.
and that's
So it's still
been
just going to those 3.
and that's been since base camp was updated.
That's correct.
Good. I think that makes sense that it's not broadcasting as much.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So
Thank you.
you are welcome. Michael, you have your hand raised?
Yes, I received a level completion request today, in fact. So looks like it was addressed to the president, the VPE, and the secretary. So the previous standard set of base camp managers. And just wanted to give you an update. That's as of today,
Okay.
earlier this morning. So.
All right, breaking news. All right, so that's who gets it then. Thank you. Thank you guys for helping me out there. Okay, is there any other questions about Basecamp or Basecamp Manager before I stop sharing? All right.
One thing, someone wanted some feedback. In terms of using it on a tablet. Computer versus a tablet, kind of feedback there.
Yes, so it is now. You can go through your projects. I haven't tried to see Basecamp Manager, but I did look at my projects on my phone. It is now set up for tablets and phones. So you should be able to do that. I don't know, in Basecamp Manager, looking at something like this might not translate very well to a tablet or a phone. But you can do your projects on your phone. They have set it up so you can do that, so that it's reasonable. All right.
And then we've had a couple of questions about training, like a training manual. Anu shared a great resource for pathways, information, and resources, but is there an official training manual that they could access?
There are user manuals for both the Basecamp and Basecamp Manager. I think it was the November. I'm thinking it was the November 11th or the I think I'll put it in chat, the links to them, but it was also in Starburst. And also Toastmasters International did send every single member a email that had a link to a training recording, and the user guides for both Basecamp and Basecamp Manager. So we'll be sure to get those to you. They're just the 2 user guides are PDFs that you can use. Do you guys generally think that the new Basecamp is better than the old one? I certainly think that the Basecamp Manager is better. So I hope you do at any rate. So the questions, okay, I see someone has their hand up. I'm not done yet. Wait, I got 1 more minute. So earlier I asked you, how can we do better with pathways? What can we do? Toastmasters International is trying to do their part by making the base camp easier, making pathways easier to navigate, and giving us some tools as officers to see where people are. But how can we do better? How can we get more level ones on my little chart there? I want to see more level ones. What can we do? One thing is, I mentioned before with Victoria, sit down with your new members and go through base pathways in base camp with them. And as we learned in my little story with my friend Elizabeth, people think differently. You need to at least go through it with them, show them what there is, get them excited about all the different projects. But you need to meet them where they are. You want to be an example. Every speech is a pathways speech. Also, fill out your speech log and show people where they can do that. And of course, you want to celebrate achievements. So mention it when somebody completes a level, do something celebratory. Use Pathways projects creatively. Use them for open houses or special meetings. You know, some of the bigger ones like the keynote speech, prepare to speak professionally, or moderate a panel discussion. That could be something really fun to do for an open house. You can also get help. You can ask for me. I do Pathways office hours. I do one a month. The next one is next month, this coming Monday, as a matter of fact. You sign up for it. You can register on the events on the calendar on the D2 website. You can ask me to come to your club to give us custom training for your club. And learn how, just have fun. Be creative. These objects they're a thing of their own. You can use any topic for any of the projects. I've seen some really creative ways to do some projects that we have to do over and over again, like the icebreaker, etc., if you do more than one path. All right.
Yeah.
Put these things in motion, dive in, have fun, motivate, and inspire your clubs. Back to you, Betty or Bob.
Yep. Yes, thank you so much, Karen, for that wonderful training presentation. And Karen, if our guests and attendees have additional questions, I know you have your office hours coming up. Is there possibly an email they can follow up with you?
Put it in the chat right now.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much. And next, we will move on in the agenda to Anu with some district announcements.
Yes, and again, thank you so much, Karen. That was fabulous. I think everybody on this call is super excited about Pathways and encouraging their members to get on board and doing them because it's so important. So in the interest of time. So again, the theme for this year is #GreatMeetings. So if you are having great meetings this year, please share with those of us on social media, tag District 2. We really want to hear all of the great things that you guys are doing. And as Karen mentioned, we do have the Pathways office hours that's coming up on December 9th. You can register for that on our d2tm.org website. And again, she's fabulous. She'll answer all your questions on there. Then we do have more club officer training dates coming up. So we have one on January 15th, January 21st, and February 18th. And there's a time we had a little bit of a glitch on getting some of those dates onto the calendar, but they should be in there this weekend. And then we do also have a few more to come. We're super excited to have our Region 1 advisor, Rose Kurland. She will be doing a very special training on mentor, sponsor, and coaching on Tuesday, December 17th from 6 to 7. So also that's going to be on the D2TM website. Please feel free to register. So if you're interested in learning how to help a brand new club or help a club that's struggling and also meet a requirement for your DTM, this is a great training to go to. It's going to be contest season pretty soon here. So the club contest should be completed at the end of February, and clubs have a choice to do it either virtual or in person, and then you'll be submitting the winners to your area directors. March will be the time where your area contest will take place, and we're going to get all of those dates on the calendar very soon. It's a change from last year, so they will all be in person, and that's why we want to make sure we get those dates out to you as quickly as possible. The division contest will take place in April, again, all in person. And then the finale, the district contest, will be on May 17th at our conference. And of course, that's going to be in person. Also, just a reminder, we have the Moments of Truth. And so that's to really help you guys evaluate your clubs. You do get it, there's an incentive attached. So $100 D2 is on the line for this, but they must be completed by January 31st. And then also, we are so excited about our conference. It's coming up on May 16th and 17th. Our amazing Rebecca Murray is going to be our MC for the event, and we're super excited to have secured Jocelyn Tyson. She's the 2023 World Champion of Public Speaking. She will be our keynote at the event. And we are doing something new this year. So we're going to be raffling off club created baskets. So start getting your creative juices flowing. We'll be sending out more information on what that looks like, how to create them and all that, but just wanted to give you a heads up about that. And then tickets are on sale, so you can use that QR code there. Also, you can go onto our D2TM website this May 17th, and you'll be able to register for there as well. And then we're also still looking for volunteers. You can join a great team. Christy Helvagian is our conference chair. We're super excited about that, as well as Kelly Faluca is our marketing chair. So you may have already seen some of the great things that Kelly has put out there. Rebecca Murray was our MC and education chair. Tommy Price, who is one of our Zoom masters here, is going to be our chief judge. Kendra Smith is our contest toastmaster. Betty Gibbons, our conference advisor. Josh Hinman, our D2 PRM, is also involved, as well as myself, District 2 PQD. There are a few roles that we do need. So we need registration chair, sponsorship chair, volunteer coordinator, logistics manager, contest chair, and also marketing support with Lynn Chapman and Kelly Faluca on the marketing side. So feel free to email me if you are interested, or if you know of some that would be interested. And that is all I have. And we do have the link. Betty and Bob, do we put in the link there to give feedback on today's training? And I think it's also on the agenda I sent out last night. There's a little QR code, so if you are struggling with that link right now, please give us feedback. We will definitely want to make sure that these trainings are useful for you. And I think today was an awesome training. I will have this recording sent out, and you'll get club officer training credit for it. And then that will be, I'll start posting more of those on the site. And so you'll be able to see it visible in the next few days as well. And if you are a member of a district outside of District 2, I will be sending a follow-up email, and then you can send that over to your PQD in your respective district. But we are excited about this, and we're looking for more levels 1s and 2s out there, especially. And then also for contest season, you need to have completed levels 1 and 2 in order to be eligible for the contest. So get on those things. All right, very good. Thank you, everyone. And if I don't talk to you, I wish you all a happy holidays, and we'll see you in the new year. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Attention, attention. Vice President Education Officers, claim your training credit today.